Namaskar to everyone. A warm welcome to Manage Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series 24 on 24th May 2023. Today we have Dr. Vijay Sardana ji here, techno-legal expert and advocate Supreme Court of India. Manage Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series inviting eminent persons from varied field of agriculture and development sectors to motivate and inspire the professionals. And here we invite outstanding persons from different parts of the world to manage for their knowledge and lifetime experiences to share with last mile extension workers. Through live lectures to faculty members also, participants of different training programs, invitees and different institutions and also networks. These lectures are recorded as video films to share through Manage YouTube and social media to reach last mile extension workers. These series are reaching more than 1 lakh extension professionals across the country and also abroad, and which includes officers of state departments of agriculture, extension departments and allied sector departments, samitis, EIs, SAUs and NGOs and entrepreneurs and also public at large. And we are privileged to invite Honorable Dr. Vijay Sardana ji, techno-legal expert and advocate Supreme Court of India. Today's topic is reforms in agriculture policies, paper to practice. Welcome you, sir. Welcome you for Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series 24. Now I request our Director General Dr. P. Chandrasekhara ji to welcome and introduce today's eminent person, Dr. Vijay Sardana ji.
Namaskar to everyone. So it is my privilege to welcome you all back to Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series. It is my privilege to welcome Vijay Sardana, a very popular name in agribusiness industry, agri-legal discipline, to manage to deliver a talk on reforms in agriculture policies, paper to practice. On behalf of Manage, I would like to extend a warm welcome to you, Vijay Sardana ji. I would like to welcome all my colleagues here and many of our online participants. They are our partner institution and professionals in the field of agriculture spread across the country, including our students and alumni. Coming back to the very interesting speaker of today's Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series, Mr. Vijay Sardana is advocate in Supreme Court. He is also, advocate in National Green Tribunal and many other tribunals, and talking on agriculture, ecology, sustainability, policy-related issues from legal angle. Interestingly, he is also independent director on corporate boards and on many expert committees, assisting agribusiness sector to excel and ministries to deliver what they promise to the people. Briefly, I can try to define, because he is into multi areas, very difficult to come out with a designation or a acronym for his discipline. Basically, he is a techno-legal, techno-commercial, techno-economic policy expert, agribusiness value chain investment strategy, and also a trade advisor, research and innovation management advisor. See, in agriculture and also in agricultural extension, all the terminologies what I explained now are not commonly used. Very rarely we hear, and we see them as the trend setting innovations for the future. He is alumni of IIM Ahmedabad, CFTRI Mysore, College of Dairy Science, Indian Law Institute, New Delhi, acquired many professional degrees from WIPO, Geneva, Harvard University, USA, and having a global experience of more than 20 years. He visited more than 30 countries. He is also a well-known column writer, author, blogger, TV panelist, well-known moderator, and speaker in international and national conferences. He is awarded by none other than the late former President of India, Pranab Mukherjee, Honorable former President, recognizing his special contribution in the development of commodity markets in India, and also a Global Agriculture Leadership Award. He also bagged first ever Best Alumni Award from College of Dairy and Food Science and Technology. In briefly, this is what the introduction of the speaker. Now, over to Vijay Sardana to share his views on reforms in agriculture policy, paper to practices.
Good morning to all of you. I call agriculture is a political term. Agriculture is neither a technology nor an economy. Those who are in this room and those who are watching around the world, show me which farmer grows agriculture and which trader sells agriculture. Have you ever seen? I have never seen. But we all try to discuss day in, day out agriculture. It means, and I always say in my discussions with the various forums, so when you are discussing things which are vague in nature, how you can have a precise solution to the problem? Problem you are addressing. You all are trying to fit one shoe to everyone with this assumption that everyone has the same problem. And that's why, after spending billions of dollars, we consider that farmers are poor. We feel that we are not getting enough productivity. We are not answering to the problems of society via agriculture. So as a lawyer, I want to be very precise that be very clear what is your argument, what you are talking. Then you say, no, we discuss agriculture, we are concerned about agriculture. No, sir, I am talking about wheat farmer, then discuss wheat. Why you are discussing agriculture? Because wheat is different than rice. Are you saying the problems are same? Then whose problem you are addressing? You are addressing the problem of agriculture or wheat or paddy or apple or potato or onion. Whose problem you are addressing? So give answer to the problem. Your whole approach has to be compatible to the ground reality. This is fundamental thing which we must appreciate. But when I'm talking of reforms in agriculture, why we need reform? My first question to all of you and those who are listening online, do we have enough food to feed everyone? You ask politicians, they will say yes. How much edible oil we are importing in this country? 70% of our requirement, and we call it food secure. Is there any kitchen in the country which is cooking food without oil? Any kitchen in the country in India? It means 70% of kitchens in India are import dependent. You may give them wheat, you may give them rice, you give them sugar. They all are surplus in India. But what they will do with that without oil? What you will make without oil with wheat? Show me one thing. Think over it. Chapati. You will eat with what? Boiled rice. Chapati with boiled rice. What you will do with that? That's the only thing you have surplus. So it means you will have an imbalanced diet. Isn't it? What about protein? You all are in Hyderabad. In Hyderabad, there is an institute called NIN, National Institute of Nutrition. They publish a very interesting document, what are the minimum dietary requirement for different stages of life and different segments of society, from sedentary workshop to the labor and hard labor and pregnant women to a kid to everyone. They make that class, and this is a very important responsibility they have. If you calculate as per the need, what they are recommending, you even don't have a protein in this country. Then you come to the next level. What about livestock? Do we have enough feed for poultry? And I tell you honestly, that animal need better food than us. हमको क्या करना होता है? What we have to do? Eat, sleep, and go and sit in an office on chair. What animal has to do? He has to perform also, which we call it milk yield or meat yield or egg yield. Are we doing anything? Human beings, any performance criteria? We don't. We only eat, sleep, sit. And in between we get a time, we walk. That's all. Animal has to do all that what we are doing, plus in a hardship environment in open sun or open winter, it means they need more energy to create a better resistance against environmental infections. So they need better diet to fight back. Plus they have to perform also more than human beings. So performance also they need input. Now tell me, who should get a better food or feed nutritionally, human beings or livestock? Livestock. Actually, we should be surviving on the byproduct of livestock. Whatever they can't eat, we should get it, because our performance requirements are much less. Isn't it? Go back to the earlier one. We don't have enough for humans, and we, by nature, human beings are selfish. Whether we will sacrifice our intake for livestock? So when human beings don't have enough food to eat, what will happen to livestock? Will they get? No. And that's why we say, why our cow yield are so low? Why our animals are so poor, weak, sick? Farmer feels livestock is a liability because he has to spend a lot on healthcare and maintenance. Because they're not getting enough to eat. Simple. Isn't it? So I'm not talking any science right now. I am from a part of argument, I'm just doing the mass balance. What you need, total number of people in India plus total number of livestock, multiply by amount of calorie you need, amount of protein you need, amount of fat you need, multiply and then see what is your total production. Are you matching the figure or balance sheet is in deficit? You all are managers. Balance sheet is the criteria of comparison, performance comparison. So when you compare it, you find there is an acute shortage of oil, there is a shortage of protein, there is an acute shortage of feed, there is an acute shortage of fodder. So what we have in this country in the name of so-called agriculture, we have only one thing which is surplus, is called carbohydrate. And tell me which medical science recommends that you should have more carbohydrate. First thing doctor says, reduce your intake of sugar, carbohydrate. Show me one doctor who says increase your intake of carbohydrate. So what we have, we don't need, and what we need, we don't have. And this is called agriculture of India. Okay? I'm just raising fundamental points for you to think. Because we have to find the answer. Why it is important? Every year, this country will add another 1.2 crore people. We don't have enough for today. With every passing year, you will have more problems, not less. This was only food and feed and fodder. Agriculture is now also becoming source of fuel. Whether it's agri byproduct industry, we talk about ethanol, we talk about biofuel, whole lot of. Means the demand on agriculture is increasing when you talk about so-called sustainability, eco-friendly approaches. So demand is not going down on agriculture, it's going up. Then you think of fiber. All says go for cotton, don't go in synthetics. Because again, so far we were struggling with cotton for human dresses. Now you say, no, even dump all your carry bags of plastic, go buy cloth bag, back to the shopping center. So demand of natural fiber will further go up. Source of import substitution, then Government of India says we have to produce more because we are throwing a lot of foreign exchange in edible oil, about $15 billion just to buy import. Why can't we give it to the farmers? Make agriculture more profitable so that we stop importing, increase productivity so that if domestic products becomes cheaper, consumer prefer domestic instead of imports. So that we save foreign exchange and farmer make more money. There is expectation or not? To save foreign currency? Because of balance of trade is a big concern for a country like India where we have huge import of fuel. We also expect that agriculture should earn foreign exchange via exports. It means from the same farm which is producing for domestic, part of that you want to sell outside. Only then exports will happen. There's not going to be a new land for you. In the same domain you have to work on. So there is an expectation from agriculture to focus on exports as well. Then we also today talk about wellness category, herbal products, naturals. We talk about aromatics, we talk about aromatherapy, we talk about whole lot of new things. Are they produced in factories? Again, come from agriculture. It's a floriculture, herbal products, medicinal plants, and you keep creating new categories. That's another. Again, from the same so-called agriculture ecosystem. Then we also expect that forestry should sustain. Plus, agriculture should also be biodiversity maintained. That's why we oppose GMOs. And I always say that biodiversity thrives only in poverty. If you want to keep people poor, maintain biodiversity. Because how many consumers are willing to pay for biodiversity, tell me? When you go to the market, which mango you buy? Everybody loves Alfonso. If you are in Andhra, you may be talking about Totapuri. Maybe some another variety. If you are talking in Gujarat, maybe Kesar. Maybe in UP, you're talking about the sherry. Maybe in some other Bihar, they have a different variety. But ICAR says there are 500 varieties of mangoes. Who is it consuming and eating them? So technically what farmer should do, he should uproot all and just put Alfonso. Most expensive and most profitable variety, isn't it? But then we intellectuals sitting away from farms, so-called NGOs, intellectuals, media, we say, no, you cannot uproot biodiversity, it is bad for society, but we don't want to pay for it. So poor farmer has to maintain a biodiversity for the luxury of urban citizens, but they don't want to pay for that luxury. Is this fair deal with the farmer? So should country bring a biodiversity tax? Just a thought. Somebody has to fund it, isn't it? So all urban citizens should be taxed separately on biodiversity. Not for rural, because they anyway maintain it. We approved the maximum. So who will maintain biodiversity? And then you also need agriculture, parks, gardens, and so many things for your recreations and entertainment. Wildlife sanctuaries, big parks, vegetation, whole lot of things. Agriculture also supplies raw material to 5,000 types of industries. What about rubber? The whole tire industry, whole textile industry, including, there are 32 types of textiles, including engineering textiles and whole lot of applications based on performance parameters. There is a huge medicinal industry, therapeutic industry, cosmetic industry, all agriculture oriented. They all need raw material from agriculture. Now tell me, when you are talking about agriculture policy in India, how many parameters it captures? You all are more educated in agriculture than me. I never understood this subject the way you all explain in university. I'm a commercial man. For me, give me a product which has a market value, I'll pay for it. You keep discussing whatever you want to discuss. If it doesn't make commercial sense, it is a waste of time for me. And I'm talking on behalf of farmers. That whatever you give him gyan, if it is not leading to his financial prosperity, or gyan is of no use to him. It may be intellectual satisfaction for you, but it is a financial burden on him. You have to accept this reality of agriculture systems in India today. So when agriculture has so many functions, now come back to the basic topic of this theme or discussion today, reforms in agriculture policy. Now my next question is, So what is policy? The policy, if you look at this, policy is a deliberate system of guideline to guide decisions and achieve rational outcomes, is policy. If any document which does not give you rational outcome, it is not a policy document. So whenever you read any policy document, whether of the state government, union government, anywhere in the world, if there is no clarity on outcomes with targets and timelines, whoever's drafted is simply justifying his existence. Policy is a statement of intent and is implemented as a procedure or a protocol. Intent क्या है? Are you ensuring food security? When you are talking about agriculture policy of India, what is the intent of that? Whether it is ensuring food security, whether that policy document is ensuring nutrition security, whether policy document is ensuring fodder or feed security, whether that policy document is guaranteeing or exporting or performing export, whether that policy document is assuring improve in productivity and quality, what is the intent of that document? If it is not becoming clear, led by actionable points, not just by saying, by this India will increase export from 50 billion to 100 billion. It's a wish list. It is not a policy. Policy has to be that with this policy, we will create so many warehouses, so many laboratories, we will train so many people. It will be like this. First year will be so much investment. It will be monitored like this, third, fourth, fifth. And we assume that with this growth rate, we will reach average 6 months like this. That is policy. And detailed action plan, who will do what is a separate. But milestone has to be there. That we have to keep in mind. What is important is that without policies, now if you do not have policies, down the line, the delegation of power, if national agenda is not clear, what is the priority for state? One way to look at it. Number two, as per Constitution of India, agriculture is a state subject. Which state has the policy? And we all fight as a political class. Don't interfere in agriculture, it is a state subject. That's a political tussle between union government and state government. We don't encroach in our territory because Constitution gave us authority that we will decide about agriculture. That was the whole argument between the 3 agriculture reform laws which were brought by the central government. Okay, why central government is encroaching? So if you reverse it, agreed, but where is your policy? As a professional, what should be our responsibility and role? Should not we ask our public representatives, citizen of India, we fail because we don't ask the right questions. And we are also not honest to the Constitution of India. The rights which are given to us, we don't exercise. So that's another way to look at it. Now come to the next important term is reforms. So what is policy? We understood. What is reform? You must have seen large number of documents which emerge from various departments. Amendment in policy, some changes here, there, date change, age change, time change, this change. These are not reforms, these are amendments. We consider amendments as reforms. Okay? Very often, we made reforms, we changed the policy. You have not changed the policy, you have amended the policy. The reforms or sometimes the amendments are required to make things right which were wrong. Suppose you put up a timeline 6 months, then you realize, it's not possible. You amend it, now read. If you see the lot of documents which are coming as a notifications, those who read notifications, what they say, in paragraph number 4, bracket 2, instead of 6 months, please read 8 months. That's all. That's not a reform. These are amendments. You gave a timeline of 6 months, then you realize it's not feasible, cannot be completed, so extend it. Like every time you have an income tax filing date, you keep adding little pressure from public, election times, so extend by 3 months, 4 months. These are amendments, not reforms. These are not tax reforms. These are amendments in notifications. But when it comes to reform, what is reform? Reform means drastic change. Government of India tried with 3 laws. to bring reforms. What was the outcome? The whole country was witnessing protest around Delhi. And why reforms are so difficult? It's very important for as a professionals you have to understand. Every defective system which survives for a little longer develops certain vested interest. It happens. Suppose you are working in an X department in Managed Institute and suddenly DG decides, no, you are shifted from library to accounts. What will be your first reaction? Why? I'm here from last 12 years. What is the problem with you? Because now I became comfortable in the shell from last 12 years. Any change, even if it is good for me to improve my skill set, to give me a bigger exposure, we have inertia to change. We are cocoons. I don't want to leave my shell. Because that survival is now comfortable. So instead of performance, we love to survive in comfort. Imagine if it is not possible in one institute, in one department, and if you have to bring a reform in the country or a society, will it be easy? If you don't reform, and if problems are becoming acute, what will happen? Think of a situation. We don't want to change the way agriculture is operating, but we know with every passing year, population is increasing, climate change is a threat, water table is going down, soil health is degrading, land is constant or in fact shrinking because of increasing population, more and more area is coming into dwellings and other infrastructure projects. What will happen to the country? We are not interested in discussing because that is not impacting me directly. How does it matter to me? I am paid for today, for my work today. I am not interested in what is happening to tomorrow. So our horizon of thinking is on day-to-day basis. We don't have long-term thinking at all. Politicians' way of, or the span of thinking is 5 years till next election. Down the line, secretary's way of thinking is 2 to 3 years, which is a tenure, fixed tenure. I'm here only for 2 years or 3 years, whatever I have to do is 3 years. Beyond that or before me, I'm not interested. I have no control, so why I should be bothered? I have to do what I have to do now. So one secretary comes and says, this is important for the country. The other secretary comes and says, no, that is useless. This is important for the country. So what was done half finished vanishes and another new agenda starts. Again, the resources are invested. Again, half finished. The third guy comes and he says, no, I have a third great idea for the country. So there is no continuity and country continues to waste the resources at suboptimal level. And I witnessed all this. Whatever I am discussing is first hand. I don't quote any literature or reference document. It means a country will move the way I want as either minister or a secretary or a DG or a director or a vice chancellor. My wisdom is ultimate, and that is where the problems start. Now issue comes up is, if with so many expectations, now my fundamental point, I don't go into too many technicalities and jargons, my fundamental point to those who are listening to this talk, whether policymakers or otherwise, even citizens of India inside or outside, imagine what is going to be the requirement of India in 2047. We will be about 1.6 billion. Today we are struggling with 1.4. My few fundamental questions to all of you to think, because I don't have an answer. So I have talking to about lakh of people, so they should pull their thoughts. What is going to be the source of food security for India? How much food we have to produce and which items? Is there any data, either with Niti Aayog or with Agriculture Ministry or with the state government or with PMO or with Parliament of India? In 2047, how much food of which item we should need? Is there any data? Because unless you know it, you can't plan it. Agriculture is not a factory that you press a button and you get a mango on the other side. It takes 5 years. So first you should know how many mangoes you need for what. How many poultry birds will be there in 2047? Some estimates. For that you need maize. From where maize will come? Will you import or domestic? These are fundamental issues. Edible oil, from where it will come? How much wheat we need? How much sugar we need to feed the population? Because what you need is a healthy citizen. Otherwise, you have to keep increasing the medical bill and there's going to be inflation in the country and there can be a civil unrest. Majority of the societies collapsed around the world or governments collapsed around the world because of extremely excessive food inflations. We are not able to manage with 1.34. How we will be managing 1.6? It means even if I sustain today's level, any person who is taking birth in India will either remain hungry or unemployed. Because I am not able to feed now. So every addition will only add to the problem, not to the solution for India. And that will be how much? Another 20 crores. Can a society sustain? How many schools we need for growing population? It's a concern. It's not simply, I'm just saying, just because we have to talk reforms and just, hypothetical scenario. No, we have to do this and we will increase our productivity by something and we will improve exports and we will have investments in startups. I don't want to do all the superficial talks. Let's talk hard numbers. Now issue comes up is, we talk about paper. So my first point is, whichever state you represent or those who are listening from different states, I have a small homework for all of you. Please dig out what is the food security policy of your respective states. Is there any? At least send Twitter or email to the Chief Minister of your respective states. Sir, I am not able to locate food security policy of my state from where I can get it. At least they will start realizing something is missing. So where is the food security policy of the state? Why I am asking state? Because agriculture is state subject. Food supply and availability of civil supplies, basic food requirement is a state responsibility. So I have a right to ask chief ministers, isn't it? Sir, where is the food security policy of your state? Can I have the copy, please? Sir, where is the feed and fodder security policy of your state? Because my livestock farmer need that also. Can you provide me that as well? Unless we ask, they will not provide. Now you are asking investors to come and invest in your state. Sir, how much raw material we have? Is there any database? How much cotton, of which quality? How much rubber? Or you are asking me to invest in here, but you don't have raw material. So where is the raw material database? Industrial requirement of raw material. Where is that database? Raw material of quality, which I can use for manufacturing. What is the import substitution plan for India? Today we are importing $15 billion worth edible oil. Then we will be importing pulses. Then soon we will be importing something else. One by one, more and more items will start coming in. Timber we are importing worth 15,000 crore. We don't realize. Rubber we are importing. If you look into agriculture imports, it's more than $50 billion. Different agriculture, agro components comes from agriculture. Timber is also agri. It's not only just wheat and rice. Timber, rubber, cotton, ethanol, anything which is origin is agriculture, whatever we are importing, make a list. And then you tell me whether we are net importing country or exporting country. And what we are importing and what we are exporting. Remove rice, meat and aquaculture from exports and then you calculate what is the value added product exports from India. It will open your eyes. We are only trading in commodities where human interventions are minimum. So we are only exploiting nature. There is no contribution of human beings other than packing. That's our competency. And then whole lot of other plans, your forestry, biodiversity and so many things. So now tell me, where is the agriculture plan of India? But are we in comfort zone? Data talks something else. So when I'm talking of paper, let me give you some parameter to consider when you have to write paper. Make an attempt. It will be a very interesting exercise. Just do a small exercise. I'm giving you some important pointers. Population of India will be by 2047 1.6 billion or 1,600 million. Isn't it? Our agriculture cultivable land from last 40 years is 141-42 million hectares. What is per capita land available? 0.1 hectare. 0.1 hectare land is available per person. Isn't it? When population is 1400 to 1600 million and land is only 140 million hectare, what is per capita land available? 0.1 hectare. In 0.1 hectare, you have to have a food for 365 days, inclusive of everything. Carbohydrates, protein, fat, plus fodder is also required from the same area. Calculate how much you can earn from that area. What is the total value of best of the technologies available in Indian agriculture universities? I'm giving you a small exercise. Think it over. Those who are doing MSc, PhD, do this project. Pick up the best of the technologies which are suitable for your taste and your food requirements, and you have only 0.1 hectare of land in your account. How much yield you can get, what is going to be the cost of production, and how much food you will get. And you have to run your kitchen from that. If you are 5 members in the family, so you will have 0.5 hectare. So half an hectare for a family of India is the total land available. You have to survive 365 days in a good quality, healthy food lifestyle. Workout economics. In how much area you will grow carbohydrates, in how much area you will grow oils, in how much area you will look for protein or combinations and other requirements. It will be interesting. Now the question will come up, are these technologies good enough for survival of India? If not, what should be the growth rate of agriculture productivity in India to ensure the minimum sustenance level of nutrition? Today when you see the new seed variety launch, is what happens? It's a resistance in this disease or that disease. Productivity we don't discuss. We talk either or. Even if we talk about productivity increase, it increased by 0.2%, 0.3% in lab conditions, still not tested in the field. So are these seed varieties which are coming into the market, will it help the farmers and society? You have to think seriously. Or there has to be a performance criteria for the seed breeders. Every seed must give at least 10% rise in yield with assured performance criteria in actual fields of the farmer, and which should continue to upgrade with time. Considering emerging climate change challenges where insect behavior will also change, half of your pesticide will become non-functional. Your maturity time of crops will change. Seed setting will change, the quality parameter will change. And what is happening in Punjab? 3 to 5 degree increase in temperature will reduce the yield of wheat by 30%. So to compensate that, you will need additional 30% land. The fact is the land is limited in this country, but population is increasing. And your yield is going down. So if country is food insecure, can you have a sovereign economic or foreign policy? Come back to the fundamentals. Why agriculture is becoming so crucial for India? So issues are very serious. If you start comparing this data and start putting them on a data sheet, in your Excel sheets, you will go crazy. Where we are heading as a nation. And the reverse is happening in different parts of the world. Many countries are eyeing India as a market, because they know that sooner or later, whether Indian political class or the policy makers like it or not, India will be net food importing country in coming days. And we all will make money in India. This is their estimates, because these numbers are all open. You have land data in India. You have NIN data in India, how much calorie you need. You have population data, and you also have a simple Excel sheet. Now, coming to the solution side, where we have to work on, considering the challenges. I think we all have to seriously think about considering the limitations of natural resources, land, water, soil health and all that, because there's a precondition for agriculture. Without this, you may talk about hydroponics, but will it be affordable to masses? That's another way. When I'm talking of food security, I'm not talking just quantity, but inclusive of affordability. If we can make greenhouses and hydroponics and organic virtually cheaper, very good. No argument. It should be done. My argument is very simple. Are the productivity level which are claimed in various crops across the board are good enough for India to sustain their food and feed requirements, plus other requirements, as I mentioned. Agriculture has so many demands. Whether existing level of development which is taking place in India, either scientific research or investments or infrastructure, is this good enough to take care of needs of fundamental needs of food security of India? Just do it for a state. If independently states are becoming self-sufficient, country will be self-sufficient. Just take care of your state. That's good enough. So don't look at Delhi, look at your state capitals. Because agriculture is a state subject, again I'm repeating. So if you are as a policy maker making your state food secure, this is your biggest contribution for the country. Because hungry people are neither productive nor useful. It's only a law and order problem. So just look from that angle. So existing productivity with existing technology, with your existing natural resources, including water and soil quality. It means then you have to work on your water requirements of the state. Do you have enough skill set in the state to do it? Are farmers adequately trained? Do they know, suppose you come out with a better technology, maybe tomorrow you want to say, I will improve the quality of food by using drone. Do we have enough skill sets? Because the state is huge. It's not just 5 people or one startup will take care of it. Where is the total requirement of number of drones and the skill sets required for the same? Do we have enough pace of innovation? In last 20 years, how many types of varieties came in different crops which are commercially successful? You may come out, I have released 40 varieties of wheat. Who benefited? Where is the balance sheet? Farmers made extra money? Consumer got the food at cheaper price? Nutritional level of society improved? What happened with the new innovation? If nothing happened, it was a national loss. You utilize the money for an outcome which is not adding any value to the nation and the society. It may be good for your research paper, for your promotion, but not for the society. You have to be very clear on that. Whether this research is for your promotion or for the country, there has to be a difference. And that is very, very vital for all of us. Imagine if farmers are not making money, will they continue to be in agriculture? Why I should waste my life for you, sir? From last 75 years, we have exploited farmers for our vested interest, whether we like it or not. We only told farmers how to grow. How many times agriculture universities taught the farmers how to make money? We say, no, grow like this, use this seed, this chemical, this variety, etc. And then you go and sell, you will get some money out of it. Profitable or not, I have never seen economic justification in any extension literature. What is going to be the cost of production, what is the quality, and what is your price realization likely to be in the market? Because there is a standard argument by saying, how we can tell the price? It is a market function. But you can always take last 3 years average, no? Why you are hiding the facts? Yes, this is the last 3 years average price realization. We anticipate it will remain like this, and hence this technology will be profitable. इतना तो कर सकते हो ना? वो भी नहीं करेंगे, because we are not sure of our own outcome. So hide the facts. Only play on perceptions. So this is where we have to look at it. Now issue comes up is, should policy reforms, when we are talking about, consider these points which I highlighted or not? I'm concerned about the country. As a citizen, I am concerned about my society. I'm concerned about the future of my kids. Okay, I may be in this world for maybe for next 5, 6, 7 years, as long as God permits. But I assume that next generation will be there for 30, 40, 50 years. They will be part of that peak of 2047 when India will be 1.6 billion. Whether they will get food to eat or not, whether your kids will get food to eat or not, you have to think. If not, then what is our role? So, non-performance of today means ours will put the future of our kids at stake. So if you are concerned that your kids should have a better life, we have to perform. Our non-performance will make their life hell. And we cannot blame anybody else except ourselves. It's very easy to pass the buck. So my last point is, what type of state policies are required at state level? It may be different. Every state has a different agroclimatic condition. Food habits may be different. So it cannot be uniform. But should states make their own state food and feed security plan? And I call it, the agriculture means food, feed, fuel and fiber. All. Plus industrial raw material. Should state make these policies or not? You all should brainstorm on this issue. And if paper is not ready, then how you are going to do the allocation of resources? If you don't know how much land or water you need and whether you need oil seed or you need carbohydrate or you need fiber or you need rubber, how you are going to do the allocation of resources for infrastructure and your R&D or other whatever is required to work a value chain? So again, whatever limited resources we have will also go waste. Like we created so-called food parks. How many are working? Because that suits political agenda. I have created one food park because it is physically visible. So the last point which I want to say is that just do one thing. If you can't do anything, just do one thing. Whenever you meet any policy maker, just ask one question, sir, where is the food security plan for the state? Can we have a copy? इतना तो पूछ सकते हो ना? Keep asking the right questions if you want right answers. If you cannot even have a guts to ask the right questions, then you are a liability on the society and the country. You are not contributing anything. Even you can't ask the right questions. Forget about answer. Answer still needs more thinking process. I'm not asking that you give answers to the problems. At least ask the right questions. So I think as a professional, if we claim that we are educated by the society in best of the campuses, society expects that we should do better than others, at least in raising the fundamental issues which are required by the society and the country. And even if we move 1 centimeter every month, I think we are moving in the right direction. But somebody has to bell the cat. And if 1.4 billion people can't bell a cat, then who are we? And who need us? And what is our role in society? Then we have to question our own existence. Why we exist if we cannot contribute meaningful on a daily basis. Thank you very much. I just wanted to say this.
Thank you, sir. It's highly eye-opening for all of us, particularly focusing on what is agriculture to reforms in agriculture, policies in agriculture, and how this paper is impacting in agriculture sector. It's like a chain of activities you mentioned with us. But during this course of 1 hour input, and it's like a chain linking between the present population, linking to land and other natural resources availability. Then it based on the climatic conditions and the requirement of the balanced diet for the population, and for which what food security we have to provide to the population. Then based on that technology, infrastructure and other initiatives to be given, finally it leads to the food security to of our nation. What we are giving to next generations. And we hope these things we are going to utilize in our future activities. Thank you so much, sir. And now I request our Director General kindly give us concluding remarks, please.
In fact, after listening to Dr. Vijay Sardana, I was remembering one of my tough teacher in primary school. So the tough teacher is not ritualistic; they are more realistic. They always told, things straight with all conviction, imposed discipline, and during that days it was very tough. We used to run away from the teacher. But afterwards we realized after 20, 30 years what that, the contribution of the teacher for shaping a human being. So I saw a tough agriculture teacher in Dr. Vijay Sardana's talk. So it came out of conviction, confidence. I don't think there is anything left for us to contradict what he says, because it is very simplistic and it is not decorative in nature and not beating around the bush. Straight away, it is your man ki baat actually. What straight away it came from your heart. So at the end, I'm very happy that you shook the very foundation of agriculture definition, which is traditionally put in the minds of the people. We think that agriculture is production and hamara kaam khatam ho gaya. Actually, we stop there. Problem left to farmers. So you say that agriculture is not mere production, it is not mere processing, not mere consumption. It is everything. Ultimately, you ensure that how much more money you can put into the hands of the farmer and save water, save soil, save earth, and save people, food security, nutritional security. It is everything and it is a business. It is not a political statement. So that, the holistic understanding of agriculture, I think it is very, very important for institution like Manage, because we are not dealing with a particular crop. We are dealing with a human being called farmer. When you go to farmer, he don't differentiate. You are a pathologist, entomologist, you are a paddy specialist, you are a wheat specialist. He will ask, what you are telling, how much extra money it is going to give to me. It is very simple actually. So this holistic understanding, it is reflected in your talk. I think, I think consciously we have to consider this strong advice what you made in our day-to-day activities. This is one important thing. Second thing, actually, we get a feeling, after listening to you, that we are grass without roots. Because how much food is required for the nation? How many farmers are there? Your calculator, analogy. How much land we have? Dry land, wet land. What kind of food we require? What crop should be grown where? What crop should not be grown by what kind of farmers? Do we have a food security plan for a very state? Because agriculture is a state subject. It's neither told by the top nor asked by the bottom. So we are the grass without roots because we don't have that stuff actually. So we made agriculture more ritualistic without trying to find answers to these basic questions. I liked the very interesting example given with respect to agriculture research. Again, it should not be ritualistic, it should be very pragmatic, responding to the immediate need of the farmers. When you say, if it is a salt resistant variety, are we taking the total productivity of that particular variety which can give ultimate income to the farmers? Or we are just saying only it can resist the salt? Resisting the salt, is it the objective of the farmer? No, that is my problem, your problem. But farmer issue is how much more money he can get. So ultimately he look at the productivity and production, whether that is addressed by the agriculture research. I think many more things are happening in the same direction. We are more, compartmentalized rather than, have a holistic approach. And at the national level, agriculture should not be seen in, after listening to you, I don't know whether I have to repeat the word agriculture. I am scared now. So because you instigated everyone that whoever talks on agriculture, you ask the question. Very important point. Take it to your heart. I think this kind of, open talks, with open mind, open heart is required for struggling agriculture. Otherwise, no farmer will be left to feed the nation. It is very important to honestly answering the questions raised by Dr. Vijay Sardana. He also indicated the solutions, but the system has to work in the direction of finding solutions honestly. Don't let us isolate ourselves. We are also part of that. So let us be part of this thinking. Thank you very much. Really enjoyed. This talk will remain in our mind and heart for a long time. I am sure that it will also influence the traditional way of, perceiving and treating agriculture and farmers. So thank you very much for devoting time and coming to manage, accepting our invitation and sharing your Man Ki Baat. Thank you very much.